So we're all here today. First of all, why are we here? Why is each of us here? Ask yourself that question. I want everyone to write this down. Why am I here today? And I believe the answer is we're all looking for an opportunity to advance ourselves by creating income and creating and enhancing additional wealth for ourselves and our families. If that point isn't clear and top of mind, then it's okay if you excuse yourself and leave the meeting because you have to be committed to the mission. And the mission is to advance yourself by increasing your income and creating additional wealth for yourself. Now, how do we do that? Well, we have to identify opportunities that have some key characteristics. The first one is you can only deal with people, write this down, please. You can only deal with people that have intelligence and integrity. And the reason I say that is because if they have intelligence but no integrity, people will steal from you. And if they have integrity but no intelligence, well, then they don't have the capacity to help you. So the first characteristic in an opportunity are the people and the leaders intelligent and do they have integrity? Secondly, is this opportunity residing in a promising business sector? In other words, is the industry that this opportunity is within, is it a promising industry? And lastly, does the opportunity give me a turnkey platform? Meaning, I don't have to invest $100,000, million, $10 million to buy a business. For a fractional amount of money, I can get involved and I'm immediately given the tools, the direction, and the platform to immediately do what? Create income and create wealth. And it's my intention today to show you and talk about this opportunity because I believe strongly it fulfills those characteristics and criteria. So let's move forward. There's an important legal disclaimer here. So everyone screen share this and read it. We're not in the business of trading Forex. Okay, we're not trading securities. We're in the product business. Okay, so it's important that you read this disclaimer. You can print screen it and become familiar with it. So why HashNet? Let's ask ourselves that question. First, there's a solid foundation here. This is not a new business. This business was established in 2022 to build multi-million dollar facilities that mine multiple currencies. And we're going to come back to that duality or triality or quadality of being able to do something other than just mining Bitcoin because it's very important. The company has zero default history. That means it has an impeccable track record of keeping all its promises and paying flawlessly the coins it's supposed to pay out and never missed a single payment. And the company's been recognized by leading industry groups as a top 5 multi-crypto mining titan. So what we're establishing here is we got a solid foundation, we got a track record of paying, and we're being recognized by the industry. Let's go to the next slide. Does it have the platform? Remember, I talked about that earlier. So what do we have? We have 3 global facilities here. Okay. We have 2 in the US and 1 in Ethiopia. And we also have 1 in UAE, an affiliate. So this is a global opportunity. Why is this important? Because we are living in an increasingly tense geopolitical environment. We have wars. We have currency debasement. We have currency devaluation. You want to have a portfolio, a diversified global infrastructure that can mitigate any of these impediments to our progress. And that can only happen through diversification, which is achieved here at HashNet. $300 million in capital has been invested in proprietary infrastructure and next-gen hardware that supports the most advanced artificial intelligence software that resides in, that leverages this hardware. So $300 million in capital has been deployed. Again, another element of the platform that's turnkey. So far, 9,400 Bitcoin have been distributed to and mined through this network. So this is a proven track record. This is not just a startup. This is not a seed round. I have an idea. And a bunch of smart guys get together in Silicon Valley and perhaps fail or perhaps succeed. Here, 9,400 Bitcoin have been distributed. And this pays out every 8 hours. So this is consistent. So in a relationship, the transfer of value, write this down. The transfer of value has to be simultaneous and proportionate. So if I help you today, you have to help me today or tomorrow. You can't help me next year. So the payout cycle's every 8 hours. What does it mean? That means it's simultaneous and it's going to be proportionate based on your efforts. Next, who's behind this? Let's get back to the intelligence and integrity. Let's talk about Ian Issa, founder and CEO of this company. 2017 was a pioneer and an early architect in blockchain and artificial intelligence. This is now bordering on a decade of experience in the blockchain and programming and leveraging artificial intelligence tools. And there's an array of artificial intelligence, learning language models, Bayesian inferential statistical methodologies. There's a whole universe of AI out there. The key is he's a master of the disciplines that are relevant to this space, right? $500 million track record, built a DeFi protocol to $500 million in total value. So there's a track record here of excellence and success. He's had 2 major exits, built and sold 2 crypto companies, as you can see there, Token Toolkit and Hedge Finance. So this is a seasoned operator, okay? By virtue of his track record, never missed a payment, we have what? Integrity. And by virtue of the 2 major exits, we have intelligence. So that fulfills that criteria, which is absolutely essential in any business and even personal relationship. Industry leader, advisor to Binance Lab Project, and a jury panelist on the world's biggest crypto event, Token 2049. So this is a recognized industry expert, okay? And he's been covered by all of the different publications and funds that you see at the bottom of the slide there. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the platform. So we have 4 different machines here, right? Just listen very carefully to the top 2 banners up top. 4 machines, 6 coins. We don't blindly mine Bitcoin. We mine the coin that pays the most. So what does that mean? That's optionality. But that optionality, which exists, has to have a mechanism by which that optionality is captured. And how is that done? Through the artificial intelligence, which determines through these 4 machines, the S21, the Z15, the L11, and the KS7, it optimizes the return, because what the artificial intelligence does is it not only optimizes the speed at which it's solving the problems that give it the opportunity to participate in the rewards of Bitcoin mining, but it's also solving for the optimization of which problems I should solve, which coin I should work on. So that flexibility obviously also requires what? Superior software, superior AI to capture that optionality. One thing's having an option, the other thing's capturing it. And this HashNet has both of those capabilities. 4 machines, 6 coins, optimizing all the way through within each coin and in the portfolio of coins. Global, they also participate. This is recognized global mining pools, Ant Pool, Spider Pool, F2 Pool. They also participate in the largest, most credible, most best financed, best operated, best engineered mining pools in the world, which speaks to the integrity and intelligence, again, of HashNet. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's talk about old school. Let's take a step back, right? Let's talk about the hardware trap. So in the old way of doing this, it was a technical nightmare. I know because I owned one of these machines. It was hot, it was noisy, it was complicated, and it was a full-time job. And I already had a job and other endeavors I was involved in. So when you did it the old way, it was extremely time-consuming. It was what? Inefficient. Okay. 2, zero flexibility. You're betting on mining one coin. You did not have the optionality, right? You were just making a bet on one coin, and there could have been other opportunities that I could have captured had my machines and my network had the optionality, which it did not. Expensive to run. Electricity is getting very expensive here, right? So when you do it, it's called being behind the meter, right? When you're a retail customer, what do? you pay retail rates. Because if your electric bill is 50, 100, 300, 500, even 1,000 or $2,000, you don't get a break. Now, if your electric bill is $30,000, well, then you can pool yourself with other commercial or industrial customers and negotiate a bit of a savings. But I don't think anybody here is spending $30,000 a month on their electricity. So as a result, it was what? Expensive to run. And it was illiquid. I didn't really have a marketplace I could go to. If 12, 24, 36 months later, I said to myself, you know what? This is getting too time consuming. I don't have any flexibility amongst the coin. I'm paying too much in electricity. Let me see if I can monetize this and sell it. There was no way for me to do that. There was no organized marketplace. So the new standard is the liquid hash rate, right? So number one, instant start. Click, buy, and your income starts immediately, right? Remember I said earlier, you have to have a platform that you can flip the switch and immediately make income and create wealth. So this has an instant start. Wholesale power, by virtue of the fact that they are consuming large amounts of electricity, they get what's called power purchase agreements, PPAs. So that's where you can negotiate. Hey, we're spending $200,000, $300,000 a month in electricity. They can get a power purchase agreement from a power generator or the utility company and negotiate a cheaper rate. That creates greater margins, that creates greater profitability, and that creates greater opportunity for you and everyone in your community. Okay? Let's move over to the right. Smart switching. They just don't mine Bitcoin. We've talked about this. I've mentioned this now a few times, right? We don't just mine Bitcoin, right? 4 machines, 6 coins, and optimizing. Where should I be? It's kind of like moving in traffic. In a 4-lane highway, the left lane slows down. It's supposed to be the fastest in the US. What do? You move over to the lane over. And if you need to go to the lane to the right, and if everything's crashed on the first 3 lanes, you move to the far right lane. So what you're doing is you're switching lanes and you're optimizing where your greatest return is. And hash rate does this for you. And there's instant liquidity. So there's a marketplace. There's a mechanism by which 12, 24, 18, 36 months from now, you say, for whatever circumstances, I would like to upgrade my machine or I'd like to do something else. You can sell it just like a stock. There'll be an organized marketplace for you to have instant liquidity at market rates. It might even be greater. It might be a little bit less, but you'll have an opportunity to be able to exit. So what do we have here, right? We have a real asset. We have a real asset here. You own the hardware. You own the mining rewards for its entire lifespan, which is an average of 4.5 years, and you're not renting it. And you also have an owner auto upgrade opportunity. Old machines can automatically fund the newest and fastest model. So you maintain being at the edge, at the frontier. It's known as the frontier. In investment, it's called the efficient frontier. What is the point at which I am fully optimized in risk versus return? You want to be sitting on that frontier. And that's what the auto upgrades enables you to do, to always be positioned with the fastest machine. Every industry constantly evolves, whether it's industrial technologies, commercial technologies, information technologies, everything is constantly advancing. So you have to have the flexibility and the opportunity to maintain that technical leadership position. And that's available through auto upgrade. Now, let's talk about what a millisecond is. Okay, a millisecond is 1/1000th of a second. And a 12 millisecond advantage. Do you think this is important? Because it's only 12 milliseconds. I can tell you this. The largest, most sophisticated hedge funds in the world, the guys in New York or all over the world that are running 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, $500 billion, they all put their servers in Jersey City, 1 mile across the river from New York City, because they figured out that a 5 millisecond advantage versus the servers and the investment firms in New York, in London, Paris, Tokyo, Chicago, Los Angeles, they would get executed first. So every millisecond counts. And we have a 12 millisecond advantage, which is powered by the Alpha Engine artificial intelligence, right? So the proprietary Alpha Engine scans the crypto markets 24/7 and instructs your machines to mine the most profitable coin. And that millisecond advantage is meaningful and profitable, right? So we can switch. As you can see, Bitcoin pays $7. Bitcoin's cash spikes to 8, right? What's the result? 12 millisecond swap, 28% profit advantage. Again, the ability, optionality is important, but what's more important is the ability to capture that optionality vis-a-vis the artificial intelligence, the optimization. Okay, let's move forward. And you can get paid in Bitcoin, right? And and convert them into Bitcoin, right? We mine the most profitable coins and we convert them into Bitcoin. So let's talk about this. Bitcoin versus traditional assets. Now I'm going to pause here for a minute and I'm going to talk a little bit about my perspectives. I'm going to bring a capital markets perspective on this. As you can see here, from January 2020 through July of last year, Bitcoin was up 1,358%. S&P was up 97. Gold was up 108. And the US bonds were down 48%. Now, what is going on in the world today? I want everyone to write this down because Bitcoin to me is a long-term debasement trade. What does that mean? Why is Bitcoin gone from less than a penny, because that's what it was, to today flirting around $64,000, $65,000? What is driving that? I'll tell you what's driving it. The US government is over $35 trillion in debt. So we have treasury bills, notes, and bonds of over $35 trillion. Okay. It's like if I made $100,000 a year and I had a $300,000 credit card balance, at some point, I'm going to go bankrupt. Not only do we have $35 trillion of on-balance sheet debt, we have over $25 trillion of off-balance sheet obligations. What is off-balance sheet? Social Security and Medicare, the retirement and medical care insurance for retirees. So Social Security is a check that people get in the United States. It's like a retirement check. And Medicare, which is the hospitalization, basically health insurance. Those are now approaching $60 trillion. That's unbelievably staggering amount of debt that continues to grow. So the world is very concerned because the world's reserve currency is the US dollar. And if the US dollar collapses, we're taking every currency with us because we're the world's reserve currency. Now, what's happened is institutional investors are hedging their bet. If the dollar continues to devalue, if inflation continues, then we need to invest in an asset that isn't growing in terms of volume. See, dollars, we can keep printing dollars, and that's what causes inflation because the money supply continues because what the US government does is it prints more money to keep paying a larger and larger credit card balance. And ultimately what happens? The music stops and you have a crash. As a result of that fear, institutional investors are now buying two critical assets: gold, because it's scarce, and the most scarce, with 21 million coins to be mined total, is Bitcoin. Now, the advantage of Bitcoin over gold is if you had $1 million worth of gold, you'd have to store it and keep it. The advantage with Bitcoin is all you need is access to electricity and a smartphone, and you can be anywhere in the world and spend it anywhere in the world. So to me, the reason we're here is what? To create additional income and create wealth in a sustainable sector that offers us a platform like HashNet that immediately enables us to profit and increase our income and increase our wealth. Well, I can tell you that the fear of the US dollar crashing is only growing day by day. And the only way to hedge that against that risk and have mobility is through Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So that is the most important capital markets perspective I can give you. If you want to share with your communities and position them against the continued devaluation of the US dollar and other global currencies and a potential collapse, then this is the opportunity that you should be involved in for not only your sake, but the sake of your communities. So who else agrees with Robert Pedraza? Here it is. Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock, is projecting a price of 700,000 by 2030. Fidelity, where I used to work, their lead analyst is projecting $1 million price of Bitcoin from today of $64,000. Kathy Wood, famous investor from ARK Investments, 1.5. BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, $1 million. Right? So let's look at a conservative price forecast of 350, base 450, optimistic price $700,000 price forecast. Okay, these are the projected prices by the experts. You can pick a more conservative, base, or optimistic path. But I can assure you this trend is going to continue. Is it going to fluctuate a little bit? Of course it does, because nothing goes straight up and down, right? I'm 64 years old. I've been through 3 market cycles in the stock market. Where is it today? 10 times higher than when I started. Okay, let's move forward. Or earn Bitcoin every 8 hours. So what is the mechanism by doing this? We own hardware, right? That's optimized through AI. Well, you can start as little as $150 and with a standard hash rate, average 7.4% monthly. Okay, you have a little bit more to invest. We can go to Ultra at 10,000 with an average monthly of 7.8%, right? Enterprise 50,000, 8.2% monthly. So there's something here. Here's the important point here. There's something here for everyone. Whether it's 150,000, 10,000, or 50,000, there's an opportunity that fits everyone's portfolio and pocket size. It's democratizing the opportunity, offering you an array of choices across all economic spectrum. Okay, now, some people ask the question, and it's an excellent one. Am I better off mining Bitcoin? Or am I better off owning Bitcoin? So there's a couple of things we got to do. Let's assume a current price in this example of 80,000. It doesn't matter what the hypothetical is. It's sort of the macro holistic view, the hypothetical example that we're going to examine here. Okay. You can buy or you can invest in HashNet. If you take $80,000 between now and 2030 and you assume a rate of growth, you're going to end up with $437,000 in Bitcoin, worth of Bitcoin. If you mine it, you're going to end up with 3.82 Bitcoin, and you're going to have $1.3 million in your portfolio when we assume, and it's going to give you a 200% return, greater on the same starting amount of capital. If you believe Bitcoin is going to go up in value, which is the only reason you should be here, because if you think it's going to go down, hit the exit and leave the session. If you think Bitcoin is going to go up, then the choice is, do I mine or do I own? Then mining is the solution. And the upside to mining is even greater. So let's move on. Sell your hardware anytime. Remember I said before, in the old days, I had no liquid marketplace. Where do I go? What website? What community? What business? Where can I go and take my machine? Very limited opportunities. Today, we have an open marketplace. You can list your hardware and sell directly to a global network of buyers, or you can put it back in a liquidity pool and they buy it back at fair market value. Okay? But what you have to do is you can sell any hardware over $1,000 after 90 days. So you can't be here less than 90 days. And I would suggest to you that if you can't be here for 90 days, you shouldn't buy the hardware anyway. Okay? This should be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 10-year commitment that you make to this program. Okay? Now, build business and turn every sale into a mining farm. How do we do that, right? So there's 4 income streams here, okay? And you have, this is what's important. You have the opportunity to participate. The opportunity to participate in 4 different income streams. So the first one's a hardware bonus paid in USDT. There's a yield share that's paid in BTC. There's a rank bonus, and there's an infinity bonus. Okay, and there's a 5x income limit on your own hardware. What does this mean? This means that if you're a passive investor, you can do extremely well. If you're just someone here that says, I don't really want to build a community, I'd really like to participate and increase my income and grow my wealth, great. We have a great opportunity for you. If you want to take it one step further and build a community, assist others in achieving their income and wealth aspirations, okay? Becoming a greater center of influence, a greater community leader, then you introduce to your community and you can benefit from these 4 additional income streams. And then let's now get into some of the particulars of the hardware bonus, which is up to 30%, all the way down 16 levels. So there's competitive compensation here. But the first decision you have to make is, do I believe in Bitcoin? Do I believe these people have intelligence and integrity? Is there a platform that I can immediately engage in that allows me to increase my income and wealth? And if the answer is yes, then this becomes material. Because then we have a hardware bonus up to 30%, down 16 levels, right? We also have yield share of up to 20%, down 16 levels. We have rank bonus up to $2 million, right? Various, and then here are the details of the program. And we also have an infinity bonus with monthly volume all the way down 16 levels, depending, and getting you a bonus of up to 2%. So there's no question that if you're going to build a community within this platform, you will be fairly and appropriately compensated simultaneously and proportionately, right? Because if you help this company today, they have to help you today. If you help them next year, they'll help you next year, right? Relationships, the transfer of value has to be what? Simultaneous and proportionate. And that exists here in this compensation pool, in this program of HashNet. Don't just mine, multiply. So with that, I will turn it over to my fine friend, Richmond Bar. Oh, before I do though, hang on a second. Let me stop the screen share.